This does come from Amari Sankofa, and he was talking with Jaden Ivey about Cade Cunningham, and then we're going to get into this right after this clip.
Next season, I think a lot of people are going to be shocked what he brings to the floor. He's going to have a special season this season for us. We're kind of riding his coattail, just trying to feed off him. He gives us a certain energy that we need to get this team going. And, he brings that from the day when he was here, the day when he got drafted. He brought that for us. So we're going to continue to ride off him and feed off him.
So I know the audio is kind of a little bit not the best sounding quality, but basically Jaden Ivey said Cade Cunningham is going to shock a lot of people. He's going to surprise a lot of people. So my question to you, Lance, is are you surprised that Jaden Ivey is going out and saying like Cade Cunningham is going to shock Pistons fans and shock NBA fans?
No, because I think he knows why Cade Cunningham was the number one overall pick. He gets to see him every day work and, just try to get back and get healthy to play this upcoming season. So he sees everything that he's putting in day to day. He sees what type of player he is. He's already played on the court with him at the Rico Hines or something we've talked about a few times. So he already knows what kind of impact Cade will have from that point guard position. And Jaden Ivey's a smart player. He's a high IQ athlete where he knows that Cade Cunningham is going to make his job a lot easier, where he's going to have to focus less on certain things and put more of his attention in other areas of his game, and he's going to thrive. And that's just what it sounds like is coming from Jaden Ivey's mouth when he talks about Cade Cunningham to me, at least when I heard that.
It's so funny about April. You see all this slander towards him. You see, is Cade Cunningham a bust?
Yeah.
And then, the Team USA Select stuff happens, right? And we hear that he's dominating the competition. He's dominating Jalen Brunson, who just got paid. He's making Tyrese Halliburton look bad. And then you start seeing the media, kind of change their tune a little bit, right? We've talked about top 10 Bleacher Report articles of where they think Cade Cunningham is going to be a top 10 NBA player. We've talked about multiple media outlets, not just Bleacher Report, ESPN, CBS Sports, Clutch Points. All of them are just kind of saying like, wait a minute, there's something there. There's something different. Now, being Pistons fans, we get to watch it night in and night out of how great of a basketball player he was. And I think what Jaden Ivey is saying is like he's getting back to his old form. He's getting back to his old self. And I think we all knew Cade Cunningham was a franchise player when we drafted him. That's why he went first overall in his draft class. He's a generational talent. I still think if you had to do it all over again, you're still picking him first overall. I don't care what the this injury history. I'm not even going to call it injury history. He had surgery this year and he played 12 games. And from what I've heard, a lot of people saying he's getting back to his old self. He's getting back to the Cade Cunningham that he was during his rookie season when he just putting up monster numbers. So not surprised that Jaden Ivey said this. This got me excited as a Piston fan. Gets me excited that, training camp is less than 2 weeks and, basketball season starts in October. Makes me think that this team is going to shock people, not just Cade Cunningham. The Detroit Pistons are going to shock a lot of people this coming season.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of, I think Isaiah Thomas commented on Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, talking about how they could be a special backcourt. I think Richard Rip Hamilton has also commented on the backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. I think this backcourt is going to be extremely special. I know the past couple of podcasts that I have said, like, the hero ball thing bothers me about Jaden Ivey. But again, I think he's a smart player. I think I'm not too worried about it. And I know I've said he would be, I think a couple of episodes ago, I said he would be the guy from the young core that I would trade, but again, just answering the question, I don't want to get rid of him. But the reason I think this is going to be such a special backcourt is because you rarely get two players whose games fit so well. Like they kind of remind me of James Harden and Russell Westbrook when they were in Oklahoma City, where you had James Harden, the more cerebral player, the playmaker, didn't care about his numbers, didn't care about the shots he put up, just cared about winning, cared about putting the guys in the right position, that's Cade Cunningham. And then Jaden Ivey, just that uber athlete that can attack the rim, finish through people, over people, under people. Now he's developing a shot. He's learning how to control his speed in the game. I think you rarely ever get that. And when you do get it, you get an NBA Finals appearance as a young team like Oklahoma City had. So that's what I'm excited for. That's why I think this backcourt is going to be really special. And I think Omari Sankofa had written an article too where Jaden Ivey talked about how he thinks he can take a defensive leap next year. That's something we've talked about on this podcast months and months and months ago when Cade Cunningham gets healthy. I think when he gets healthy and he's on the floor, we're going to see a totally different Jaden Ivey. We're going to see more of a scorer Jaden Ivey. We're going to see less of a playmaker, in my opinion. And I think that's a good thing overall. I think the less Jaden Ivey has to focus on setting teammates up and being the point guard or being a playmaker for this team, you'll see his scoring and his efficiency go up. But also on the defensive end, you're going to see him become, I don't want to say elite quite yet, but I think he is going to take a massive leap defensively this year when he doesn't have to focus on playmaking and being a point guard, when he can just, because with Cade and Asar Thompson, even the coaches are going to draw plays for Jaden Ivey just to, where they can put him in position to let his athleticism and his skill set thrive. I mean, if I'm Jaden Ivey, I'm salivating playing next to two playmakers like Cade and Asar Thompson, where I'm like, oh, you just want me to come off the screens and attack, and these guys are going to put me in the best position possible to succeed in doing that? Oh, man, I'm going to be an A-plus defender for you this upcoming season. And I really do think that's what we're going to get from Jaden Ivey. But what in your mind makes this backcourt special? I know I just went on a long rant and everything, but I do want to hear your thoughts on
that. I think when you look at the great Detroit Pistons backcourts in history, you look at Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. Then you go, a few years later with Chauncey Billups and Richard Hamilton. I think Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey can be that third great Detroit Pistons backcourt. And those first two backcourts that I mentioned, they won championships. And I think very highly of both of these guys. I think Cade Cunningham, to me, he could play any position, and he's going to make anyone else on the team better. He's just that type of player where when you watch him play, he'll average 20 when he could average 30. Because he wants to get his teammates involved. That's the type of player he is. It's almost like LeBron-ish, where, we know LeBron could probably average 35, but he'll average 27 so he can, involve his teammates. I think Cade Cunningham is cut from the same cloth in that aspect. And for Jaden Ivey, I was so high on Jaden Ivey. Even before we started this podcast, I told you, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons look to draft Jaden Ivey because he's just one of those rare athletes that you don't really see too often. And what I saw from him last year, from October to April, the progression and development and the time that he put in to get better as a basketball player, you're not supposed to do that your rookie year. You're not supposed to come in and just get that much better. Like, we both talked about, hey, can he learn how to control his speed? He did it. Hey, can he become a three-point shooter? That was a knock on him coming out of college. He did it. 35% from three his rookie year. That's excellent. So I think this backcourt has the potential to be the next great backcourt for the Detroit Pistons. I think it has the chance to be very special. Now, obviously, Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey haven't played a whole lot of games together, but they're willing to make it work. They're willing to put in the work, and I absolutely love hearing that from both of them. They want to succeed here in Detroit, and I think they will. They have all the talent in the world, all the potential in the world, and you have a coach that has done it with other organizations when they weren't the best. He did it. It wasn't the Bobcats. I think it was the Charlotte Hornets. He did it with them with Chris Paul. Then he did it in Phoenix with Devin Booker and company. I think, Monty can do the same thing with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Yeah,
and I think the team's future is so dependent on these two making it work out for the Pistons. Like, I think truly the Pistons will only go as far as Cade Cunningham takes them, but they will reach a whole nother stratosphere if Cade and Jaden Ivey figure this out and make it work in the backcourt for years to come. Like, as long as those two click, it doesn't matter if Dern and Asar are on this team or not. And it's no offense to those guys. Those two are great young players, and they're going to be amazing in the NBA. But it really does come down to Cade and Jaden Ivey. If these two can make it work, they will be – I strongly believe the Pistons will be at the top of the Eastern Conference just because of Cade and Jaden Ivey, because their games just blend so well. I think we're going to see – and I'm going back to the Oklahoma City, the James Harden, Russell Westbrook comp. I think we're going to see what those two could have been if they had just been able to stay together for majority of their career. We're going to see that in Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. We may not see the individual success from these players, but we're going to see what it's like when you put the individual stuff behind you and you just focus on the team and winning and trying to get championships. We're going to see it from these two, and it's going to be incredible, man. This is like, man, I feel it feels so cool because like there are times when I would look back on the Bad Boys, that whole 80s Pistons era, and I'm like, you get kind of jealous because you're like, man, you got to see Isaiah Thomas get drafted. You got to see Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, all these guys. And then you finally, over years, you finally see them figure it out and they reach the pinnacle. We're going to get to see that with this young core. We're going to get to see it. And it's so exciting. And I just cannot wait. Like just talking about it now is exciting, but talking about it 3, 4, 5 years from now is just going to be amazing. It's going to be so.
This is the most young talent the Detroit Pistons have ever had. I mean, you look when they go into work crew when, you know, that era was over from like 09 to let's say like 2018, 2019. You know, we missed on draft picks. We tried to compete for 8 seeds when, you know, we had no business doing that. We should have rebuilt a long time ago. But, I mean, you look at the core pieces. You have Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. Like, those are your building blocks. Think about that for a second. All you're really missing is, a power forward as a building block. Maybe that'll be Isaiah Stewart. We're going to have to wait and see. But, like, this team's future is incredibly bright. I know a lot of Pistons fans, they want to win now. They want to make the playoffs. I know what's going to come. This team is really going to be set up for long-term success. This is going to be a team that is going to be in the playoffs each and every year. And I think Pistons fans will just expect it. You know, if they make the playoffs one year, they're going to expect it each and every year.